Morning, it's Wednesday and we're out and about in the van and we're going to go and collect the parts that should have been here yesterday. Fingers crossed they've arrived this morning, otherwise it's just going to look really bad. So we're on the way there. I've got a couple of parts to take back, a couple to pick up, the old Euro car parts, and yeah, we'll catch up in a second. Oh dear, not what I wanted. So we just turned up to Euros. The discs that should have been there yesterday for a job that I had to move, they're not there. So it appears it's not the store's fault. It's to do with their morning delivery. For some reason hasn't turned up. So they're telling me that it should be in at 9:30. If this doesn't work out, this is going to be really bad for me. Euro car parts, they get such a bad rap. To be honest with you, 90% of the time I don't have any issues at all. Obviously you need to make sure you do your due diligence and you check your paperwork, because parts can be picked incorrectly. You know, that could happen at any supplier, but you know, apart from that, generally 90% of the time pretty bang on with the bits and pieces that I get. But for some reason this bank holiday weekend it all seems to have gone wrong. Oh, I don't think my day is going to go very well today. Right, so you join me, first job of the day. We just picked up Fiat 500 and we're going to do a interim service on this one, and so oil filter and pollen filter, get this all up to date, and we'll catch you in a minute. So one thing that a lot of places don't do is check, which they should, your space saver. If the car's got a space saver or a full size spare, the pressure needs to be checked every service, because otherwise if you break down, you go to put it on and you haven't got an air pump with you, it's going to be no good to you. Right, that's this Fiat 500 service all completed. So now to drop back to the customer, and then we're going to go out and get to our next job. Would you believe it? Euro car parts saves the day and put everything right and managed to get the discs for me for that job. So we completed it today. Well done. Right, we just finished there on the Toyota Urban Cruiser. Rear pads and discs changed, front drop links changed. Both were advised on their last service, so we got them changed for them. I didn't carry out the service, someone else did, so I don't know who that was, they didn't let me know. But yeah, I've done that. And now we're off to the next one. So you join me here with the Discovery Sport. This is one that we were going to with a complaint of a red warning light on the dash when driving it the other day, and smoke from the exhaust. So basically I think it's going to be the turbo that's the issue. Let me just show you some of the fault codes that I got from the Topdon scanner once I plugged into it. Here we go, these are the fault codes we've got in ECM. So NOx sensor circuit could be to do with the NOx sensor and the exhaust, which is I think to do with the AdBlue and DPF. But you've got turbo, supercharger, underboost, turbo, supercharger, overboost, EGR fault, lost communication with immobiliser, glow plug control module, crankshaft position sensor A circuit, turbo charger boost control solenoid, turbo supercharger boost control solenoid circuit range performance, turbocharger boost control position sensor A performance stuck high, diesel exhaust fluid heater control unit supply voltage, and glow plug circuit, glow plug cylinder 3 open circuit, so it probably needs a glow plug. And again, cylinder 3 glow plug circuit range performance. We've got various other fault codes in the others, but we're mostly interested today in what's in the engine control unit. So it is Smoking now. So Discovery Sport all finished, like you've seen in the previous bit of footage. I think it's going to be turbo related failure, oil in the exhaust, and it's smoking away. It's a bit like a wacky race car at the moment. It's like a smoke screen behind. So I've advised that I've had to top it up by 3 litres, meaning that the engine oil level was very low. So not to drive it, ideally, and to get it booked in at a specialist or Jaguar Land Rover themselves to have a turbocharger replacement. Right, that's the end of Wednesday. So just to recap, service done this morning on the Fiat 500, pads and discs, rear pads and discs done on the Toyota Urban Cruiser and front drop links. Then we've just been over to Discovery Sport to investigate the reason behind smoke coming from the exhaust and a warning light on the dash, and we're all done for today, so on to the next day. Hi there, so we're here with the Seat Me carpet installation. That has been drip drying over the weekend, sort of draining into this spare paint pot that I had. So we've got about a litre and a half of water out there, but it's now bone dry, so we can go and stick that back in. Morning, it's Thursday, we're back out in the van. Just on our way to go and have a look at the Seat Me from last week, where it had the internal water leak. Dried out the carpets over the bank holiday weekend. They're all now dry, so we're going to go back and remove all the seats and interior trims and refit the carpet and insulation and get that one all back to how it was before the leak. Right, so we're here with the Seat Me. I'm going to get all the carpets and insulation back in. Insulation back in. There's the carpet ready to go in. Insulation there, seats out. Let's go. Carpet all back installed. Just going to get seats back in. There we go. Seats all installed. Car is back to as it was before the leak. So with the interior all back together, we're just going to clear the fault codes from having the seats removed, which will be in the ESP and airbag module. I'm going to show you how to do this on the top ton now. Just going to run a full health report, just so that we can clear all faults that have been stored while the seat's being removed. So we're going to go into airbag. It's the only one that's got any fault codes stored, which is good. We're going to read DTCs. There we go. Got one of the faults there from the seats there on the driver's side. The other fault code. Yes. Yes. No fault codes, which is great. So it's just from unplugging those seats. But we like to make sure that we clear all faults, even if the light goes out, just so that if you have any issues in the future, you can be sure that it's not from what you've done. Right, so that's the Seat Me all finished, all the interior back together after that water leak last week. So That's all good and all dry, and keys back to the customer. Now let's head off to the next job. We've got a service to do, also locally in Bracknell. Well, the weather outside is glorious. Hope everyone's enjoying a bit of sunshine in the second week of the half term with the kids off. Right, you join me under the car to drain the oil. Got to get this under tray off. Got some T25s dotted all the way around, and at the back I think they're T40s or T45s, 3 of them. Let's get this tray off. Right, with our under tray removed, need to just undo this 19mm drain plug on the back to drain the oil out. Right, with the oil draining into a suitable container, we can collect that and then we can store that back in an empty bottle. Right, so to change your oil filter on this engine, oil filter housing's down here. I believe it's a 36mm socket, but to get access to it nicely, you just need to undo this T30 so that we can just move this bracket out of the way so that we don't damage any of this changing the oil filter. Right, so now we've got that vacuum housing out of the way, we can now access the oil filter housing. I correct myself earlier, it wasn't 36, it's a 32mm socket. Nice little wobbly extension, 1/2 inch bar, and get that out. Right, let's get this filter swapped over. Right, so that's the oil filter swapped. Right, so the filter's all reinstalled back in there. We put this vacuum housing thing on there, put the T30 back in, so it's back as it was. So once your oil's finished draining, sort of a drip like this or stop completely, I'm going to pop the sump plug back in, and then we can start filling it up with new oil. So if you want to change the air filter on these Skoda Octavias, you've got these T25 Torx bolts all the way around. Should have undone them. Literally lift it up, pull out your filter, pop the new one in, put it back down and do those screws up. Right, so we're going to pop this filter back in, just make sure it's all nicely seated all the way around. Make sure that this seal is here, if your airbox is that shape as well, because sometimes when you're taking the top part off, this seal can pop out, so make sure that's all in there, and pop this cover back down into place, and use your T25 to do the box up. Right, with the air filter replaced, we're going to show you how to do the interior cabin pollen filter. Here we go, on the passenger side, just underneath the glove box, you'll see this panel here, and you've got these two fasteners. So you undo those two and we'll pull this out and I'll show you in a second. Right, with that panel out the way, you can now see that there is a door for your pollen filter here. So if you just take that out, then you can take the pollen filter out. So there's the old one removed, here's the new one. We'll pop that in. As you can see, this is what filters the air coming into the cabin. So it's so important to change these. A lot of people forget to do them. So here we go, new filter coming in. Once that's in there, put the trapdoor on. That's all good. So there we go, literally slides over like that. Once your panel's back in, just remember to put these two fixings back in. Now with the sump plug tightened up, we can put the engine oil in. Right, so we're going to reset the service light on this VRS now we've finished the service. that's reset. All done. Right, so that's the Skoda VRS service all done. And now, that's it for today. Good morning, it's Friday and we're back out in the van. We're on our way to go and have a look at my mum's ML350 because unfortunately she's got an issue with the brakes on top of the Parktronic sensor in the previous video I dropped. So we need to go and find out what's going on. Apparently there's no pressure under the pedal, so we need to get that resolved ASAP. So we're on their way now. Let's go and have a look. Oh, today is going to be another wet day. It's just raining and raining. Oh, I just watched that video that I put out last night, and the audio, I'm sorry, it's terrible. I have got borrowed some microphones from my father-in-law to try out, and I think I'm going to need them, especially when I'm stood away from the camera, and especially outside, because it sounded alright with headphones on, but when I put it on the TV last night, you could barely hear me, and then the music was far louder. Right, we've just pulled up. I'm going to get the keys and let's have a little look, see what's going on. Right, we're underneath, and we got a split line in the middle of the body here. It comes off the near side rear and comes down through the wheel arch and under these panels either side of the saddle tank. You can't quite see the colour, but that is brake fluid. So we got a burst line somewhere. So we're going to have to strip it down to find out. It won't be now, be another time. Right, so here we go. Got a check brake fluid level fault on the dash, and under the pedal, when you press the pedal, there's just nothing. I've just been underneath and there's been a brake fluid leak in the middle of the body, so it's probably going to be something like the steel lines front to back that join to the brake hoses to the ABS unit. Somewhere on that section it's split, so I won't be stripping it down today because I've got time. It's absolutely hammering down with rain, so we'll leave it here and join me back when I get a chance to come back. Right, so that was the inspection of my mum's ML350. We know what the issue is. It's the steel lines running from the front of the car to the back of the car. One of them's burst somewhere along the left hand side. I believe both the left and right hand side brake lines to the rear run along the passenger side underneath the belly trace and then up and over the rear axle to one side and the other. So I need to go back when I've got some time, probably next week, and jack it up, strip the trays off and get access to those, hopefully when it's a bit drier. Now we're on the way to our next job, which is a Seat Leon, or Seat Leon Cupra, but basically we've got a routine service to do on that one. And then after that we're going to a Range Rover Evoque, which I'll tell you a bit more about when we're on the way there. So we've just finished the service on this Seat Leon, and we're going to go off to the next job. Right, just finished that service on the Seat Leon FR. It was just a routine service with an oil and filter and pollen filter change. Just advised that DSG oil change should be done fairly shortly because it should be done every 40,000 miles, I think, ballpark. Double checking the figures. Keep on top of your DSG gearbox oil and filter changes, prolongs the life of your gearbox. If you don't do it, then obviously there's a chance that the oil can't do what it's supposed to, which is obviously lubricating all the components. So there you go, we're off to the next one. Right, we're just off to the third job of the day, which is Range Rover Evoque with a AdBlue fuel dowsing fault on the display. So let's see if we can scan it and see what's going on, find out if it's a sensor or something like that. Here we go. Right, so we're here on the next one, Range Rover Evoque. We've got this fuel dowsing fault coming up, so engine warning light on, basically saying no engine start in 512 miles, diesel exhaust fluid dosing malfunction. Let's have a scan and see what's going on. Right, so RT Diag 800BT, let's give it a scan. Just scanning through all the control units now. Once we get to the end of the scan, we can have a look in the engine control module, see what's causing this light to come on. So we want to go ECM, engine control module. Read fault codes. NOx exceedance, NOx control monitoring system, NOx exceedance, NOx control monitoring system, NOx system driver, inducement active permanent, engine coolant pump control circuit high permanent, diesel exhaust fluid pressure too low pending. From looking at this vehicle, it looks like it's an issue either with the AdBlue injection module or the NOx sensor itself, but I have recommended that actually they should contact JLR to get them to either come out to them or drop the car to them, because it could be just a software resolution. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe.